All right, you can do the same thing with your minor 5 chord or your E minor 7. Okay. I like this little move. I like this particular voicing of the E minor 7. So I'm barring here. That little lick I played in the beginning of the video is something like this. So this is like a part, just 7th fret. It's really part of a 5 chord, and then 4, 1. So you can find all these little harmonies and play around with it. But basically it's just that. This is kind of like a minor 5, 4, 1. All right. Now the minor 7, 1, it's less of a change because there's more notes in common. So the only really different note is the 9s. But sometimes you have chords that are almost the same, and just it's a cool, like, little more of a subtle change. So while we're on the topic of like those kind of subtle changes, one thing you can do is go from your 1-7 or your A7 to your 1-6 or A7 to A6. So it's kind of a subtle change, right? It's not as like bold as this. I think that's why this change is so beautiful, the 1 to the minor 5, because it's really is, you know, a true movement, like a progression within progression. But this other kind of thing, just kind of a way to add a little color in there. And in particular, the 1-7 to the 1-6 is a subtle thing. Now it's more obvious if you just kind of milk that note. But you can always just substitute it. You could like not even play the 1-7 at all. You could just start your blues like this. You could play the 6 on the 4 chord as well. So that's a nice little shape. 5, fret 5, 4, 4. There's my D6. There's a 6-9 chord. Sometimes I'll use these open strings, which are like a G chord. Again, we talked about the G chord being the minor 7th that works great when you're in the key of A. Little transition chord. Now, another thing you can do is like the major 7. So we talked about, you know, going to the 1-7 to the excuse me, from the 1-7 to the 1-6. You could go from the 1-7 to the 1 major 7. Or maybe just coming back from like the 4 chord. So okay, here we go, 4. Back to the 1. Okay, and then into your turnaround. All right. Now, another thing I want to mention is that if you're in Dorian, because sometimes you can use Dorian instead of Mixolydian. Now, really the only difference with the Dorian versus Mixolydian is that you have a minor third. So we talked a lot about the minor third and major third. So your minor third versus your major third. All right, so if you're in Dorian, meaning you're going to use the minor third, you would get a major 7 chord off of your minor third degree. So just another one of those things. Again, you could use like the back and forth technique, or you could do something else like. That wasn't great necessarily, but I haven't played around with that one as much, so. But again, I'm always trying to go back to my root, to my A7. And I always think of the A7 as kind of the root of the blues sound, or if I'm in B, it would be B7 and so on. All right, so let's see, what else? Now you can use these chords, not just like as chords, you can use them as arpeggios. So for example, like the E minor 7, one of my favorite licks is like, so this would just be like, this would be descending down the E minor triad, and then chromatically back to the third. So you could use it like maybe on the second beat of a blues, like. Something like that. Now let's talk about the 2 chord for a second. So the 2 is not really something we typically think of when we're talking about blues. But it's kind of really natural because it's just, again, it's all about movement. So where can I go from the 1 chord? Well, I could go, like we said before, I could go down to my, down a step and back. Or I could go up a step and it works, with a minor. And again, that ties back to our 2-5. So you can always just throw that in whenever you're on the 1 chord. I just forgot to mention one thing. Just going back to the very beginning when we talked about the 1/4, you could throw in the 1/4 like on any beat instead of when we usually think of the quick 4 as like beat 2, or sorry, bar 2. You could throw it in like a bar 1 or bar 3. Anyway, no rules, just anything you want. All right, so the 2 chord. Well, sometimes I like to do this. Like I'll play it up here, like just barring, and then even hammer on. So A7 or. It works good with a major chord too. So major. All right, so that's just top 3 strings. All right, let's see what else can we do. You can always take like any chord and just start moving notes around, or even like part of a chord. So if I have like my 5th and root, I can just start moving this note. This is like the 7th here, 6th, 5th. And when you play less notes, like just 2 notes, it can imply different kinds of harmonies. So I think they're pretty cool. They're pretty flexible. kind of a more dynamic approach to just like staying within like a certain chord progression. But you, as you play different notes and harmonies, you also imply these progressions. You know, you can throw in the blue note or the flat 5. One cool trick is like when you have this flat 5, this is actually the 7th of the sharp 5 or the minor 6. So one change is, you know, when you have this half step approach. So not only can you move in full steps, like we talked about, you can also move in half steps, so off the 5th. So this is like a cool thing you can do like on the 5. And this again, the 7th of this chord is your flat 5. So all right, so anyway, back to this. I was let's see, what if I keep my 5th the same and just move my root like, so we start here again on our just root 5th, root 7th, which still implies the 1 chord, but then there's my 6 there. So instead of this, we have, so just different ways to do it. All right, so another thing, you know, you can play around with going from your 3rd to your 2nd. So here, and again, that's related to this C minor 7 flat 5. We talked about this, but if you just move this up 1/2 step, it's a whole other harmony. It's more of like a minor sound. So there's my, again, sharp 5, but this time instead of a sharp 5 chord, it's just it's another harmony for you. You can, you know, it's a 13 chord. So, you know, this is just your 6th degree, like we talked about. But when you play it with your 3rd and your 7th, that's when you get that 13 sound. So we're not going to go through every possible chord or harmony. I'm sure I don't know them all, but hopefully this gives you a lot of different ideas. Let's end with just looking at a blues song. We're going to look at the song Stormy Monday. Now this is almost like a cliche song because, you know, you'll almost like hear this song at every blues jam, or it's a very popular song. I'm talking about the Allman Brothers version. It was originally a T-Bone Walker song, but they kind of jazzed it up a bit. And even though it gets a lot of play, maybe it's overplayed, it's pretty cool if you like analyze it from the lens of like alternate chords and stuff, like everything we've been talking about. Kind of throws in a lot of those tricks. So, and the cool thing about this song is the intro is like the same as the vocals. You know, you can sing it and play the exact same thing. They call it Stormy Monday. Tuesday's just as bad. So the whole progression is going to go like this. All right, so it starts out with these little cool little sliding riffs. These are like, this is part of this G7 chord. This is in G. But then when I slot, you're hitting the 6 and the root. So you're getting kind of a variation of what I talked about, going from the 1 to the 1/6. Probably a much cooler one. And then you're just hitting the bass notes. 4 chord. Now here's where it gets pretty interesting. You go from this G7 to a G sharp or A flat 7, which is just a half step up. And again, this is one of those things that really didn't make that much sense to me some years back. It's like, why are they going to this? It just sounds like it's just some weird half step thing. But it's now I look at it more as like, it's like a, it's a progression within a progression. It's a movement up to an alternative dominant chord. And then back. So there's like a kind of a mini tension and resolution back there. So then it goes back to the 4 chord. Now it goes to the G major 7, and we talked about this previously. How I talked about after your 4 chord, when you go back to the 1, you could hit a major 7. And it just automatically gives it that kind of different tonality. So now it goes. So now we start kind of walking up diatonically. This is like where it gets jazzy, but it's squeezed into the context of the blues. So passing chord, just walking half step. And these, I'm just borrowing these. These are minor 7 chords. I'm using my thumb. So G major 7, A minor 7, B minor 7, B flat minor 7. Back to the A. I sometimes like to hit this one, just like make it a 9, minor 9. It just kind of, just the idea of adding notes within the harmony. So then, this is like kind of the weirdest one, but maybe the coolest one. It goes to our C minor 7. Which is our 4 minor. Oh, so I forgot to talk about that. I'll talk about that afterward, I guess. But this is, yeah, so. And then our turnaround. 1, 5, 1, 1, 4, 1, and then this is a little augmented chord, just a nice little ending chord. So this would be frets 5, 4, 3, 3. All right, so I just want to talk about the 4 minor because I was going to talk about that and I forgot about that. Let's just go back to the key of A for a second. So normally you would go to your D7, but you could also go to your D minor 7. Maybe throw in something like that, like D minor 7 to E minor 7. Sometimes you can go from your like dominant 7 to your minor 7. So A7, and then D7, something like that. You can also go. I like this shape too. fifth, just root, minor third. So you could have like. You could also do this. This is like a minor 7 to minor 6. And back. So you could also do. So that's C minor 7, C minor 6, G7. So that's. Also, in your 4 chord, you could use a major 7. Very sweet, but like very specific kind of sound. And you can also experiment with different lengths of progressions. Like instead of a 12 bar, you could do a 16 bar, 14 bar, 13 bar. I'm trying to stick to the 12 bar thing. Just because it makes more sense, but you know you can totally break the rules. So anyway, I've gone on for more than 45 minutes here, so hopefully I've given you enough food for thought. And again, the whole thing is just to have some options, and never forget the goal is to hopefully master the blues, and a big part of that is the 1-4-5. So you know, for me, like I said at the beginning, just having these different options gives me more confidence just to go back to just. And they'll come out, you know, these different ideas. One more trick. This is going to be diminished chord here. So this is diminished off your flat 5 leading into the 5 chord. So this will be frets 6, 7, 6, 7, 5, 7. And you can use it. So, I think that wraps it up.